Hey, Jen. How's it going? Can you hear me?
I can hear it. Oh, wait.
Awesome.
I think am I on mute?
Nope, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good.
How's it going? Did
I'm
you
good.
have
How are
dinner?
you? Yeah, I just had a smoothie in the car.
Oh, yeah. Is that your
Still
dinner? Or
trying.
are you going to eat a little bit more after?
That's gonna be my dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a little bit before
Oh, okay, good.
class, and then close the kitchen.
That's right.
I really like that article where I think you posted it, where it's like the difference like between the words like I can't eat
Oh,
or
I
I
know. And
eat.
I don't. I know.
I'm just like, whoa. I've been using
Yeah.
that now. I'm like, I
Awesome.
was at my parents' house in Edmonton,
Yeah.
and they like eat late. Like, well, they'll
Yeah.
have dinner, but then they snack.
Right.
And they're like, oh, but it's just, yogurt
Yeah.
and fruit. And
Right. It's
I was like,
healthy.
no, I don't eat after dinner. And
That's
then,
awesome.
and then they're like, what are they going to say? No,
Yeah.
you must eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
Perfect.
grandma would say that. She's a food pusher, but
Oh, my grandma
um,
was too. Oh, I had such a food pusher.
I
Yeah, it's
know. I
like
feel like it's that era where it's
oh,
like they live
totally.
through like such
The
scarcity,
depression. Yeah,
and then it's like you must eat,
yeah,
or it's
I know.
like such a sign of love if you eat their
Yeah,
food.
exactly. My mom's actually like that a little bit too. She's like, that's how they show their care is through
Yes,
feeding you.
feeding you,
Yeah,
acts
and
of
then
service.
yeah, and then it's like if you don't, they feel like they have no purpose. You know,
Yes,
their purpose is to feed you, and then if your
yes.
that purpose isn't fulfilled, it's like yeah,
No, and even Lindsay was saying like she really is drawn to like feeding people.
hmm
I do like to. I like to be on the
yeah.
receiving end of this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, totally. I mean, it does feel good. Oh, it feels, when you're doing something for someone and it's appreciated and people,
Yeah,
you know, it's something that they want and that always feels
yeah.
good. Hey,
Hi,
Jean.
Jean. Hi.
How's it going?
Good, good. Yeah,
Good.
yeah. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
Yeah. Like we're at our last habit, last call of 2017, but I'm so excited you guys are coming
I
along.
know. I'm like, not the last call for us. We need
No
to be
way.
continued.
I am so excited for 2018. I've got so many really amazing ideas of how we're gonna totally like bring it up a notch, and it's gonna be awesome. I'm bringing in lots of fun things too, like gamification. So gamification is basically like making our habit improvement or a game so that it's fun and there'll be challenges and there'll be incentives and yeah, there'll be bonus content for those that are like crushing the goals and engaging in the forum, and then there'll be um, maybe even potential like if you're not engaging in it, there might be like you might stop getting the stuff.
It's like punishment.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's sometimes we need that extra little nudge
For
to
motivation.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So yeah, so I'm excited. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
guys are and Lisa too. Um
Right.
hey. So we are, this is our 10th habit, and before and this is the time of year, we're at the end of the year. This is very fitting. Like we've finished the 11 weeks, but it's also the end of 2017. So we're going to just take a moment to do a little exercise, and I want you to grab a paper and a pen if you don't have one. And this is an exercise that I do at the end of each quarter. And then also at the end of the year, I do it for like the whole year. And it's so important. Sometimes and I don't know if I talked about this last week. I don't think I did, but the reflection process is as important as the planning process. And sometimes we jump into planning. We're like, and for those of you that are future oriented, that's one of my things. I'm very future oriented. I'm always looking ahead. And sometimes I don't take the time because sometimes looking back almost feels like a waste of time. Like I don't have time to look back. I just need to keep moving forward. And then there are people that are the opposite, that tend to be stuck in the past and don't look forward. So we want to do both. And it's the reason why is because, first of all, we want to really take time to celebrate, because that gives us a lot of motivation to go forward. Because if we're always just working to the next thing, it becomes just arduous, and we don't get to stop and take stock and celebrate and enjoy and recognize and appreciate all our efforts and our accomplishments. And also, we want to learn from our lessons, whether they're things that we learned that worked, but also things that we've learned that didn't work, so that we don't keep going in circles and repeating the same mistakes and being stuck in the same patterns, so that we can learn the lessons that need to be learned and not have to relearn those lessons again. Because if we don't, then the lesson is relived until it's learned. So this is a nice practice that it's called ALSW, and it stands for accomplishments, lessons learned, strengths, weaknesses. So accomplishments, and I'm gonna set a timer for a minute. And when I do this, and we're just doing this in relation to what we've been doing in the course. So not necessarily although I would say everything is affected when we change our health. So maybe there's been breakthroughs in your relationships or at work or in other places other than your health. So let's just bring it all in. So accomplishments, I'm going to give you a minute, write down. So actually I'll pause for a sec. And Jessie, since you just joined, and I'll just share, we're doing an exercise. So grab a paper and pen. Okay. And the first one, I'm going to give you guys a minute. And the good thing about these short answers is that we stay in stream of consciousness. We don't get stuck in logical mind or rational mind. And it's very honest. The answers are very straightforward, honest, to the point. And that's why sometimes when we take too long, we kind of get stuck in thoughts. But anyway, sorry. But actually that goes against what I'm going to say. Usually when I do this, I take 15 minutes for each thing, but I'm doing it for and sometimes actually the more time you're forced to really look deeper and dig in and see, okay, what are all the accomplishments? Okay, so accomplishments from the last quarter, from the last, basically, since we started the course. And it can be accomplishment of I did that habit, or, if it's a more tangible thing, like I increased my energy, or I lost some weight, or whatever. These are your wins. Okay. Oops. All right, so the next one is lessons learned. So these are positive and negative lessons learned. Capture them both. Remember what you learned and write them down so you don't have to learn them again. Aim for specificity. Be as specific as you can. And you want to capture the full meaning of the lesson. So good lessons, bad lessons, what worked, what didn't work. Hey, Twyla, we're doing a journal exercise, so grab a piece of paper and a pen.
Okay.
Right now we did already accomplishments, and now we're doing lessons learned. So I'm doing just a timer. So you'll have to go back and do the accomplishments. Okay, the next one is strengths. So what are strengths now? Maybe a strength is that I've got my evening routine nailed, or I'm eating early. Like that's a strength now. That's a strength that I can now leverage. So what habits have you successfully implemented? Acknowledge your competencies, especially when it used to be a weakness. Like if something is now a strength that was not before. What resources do you have? What capabilities do you have that you didn't have before? Okay, and the last one is weaknesses. So this is how you can, what needs improvement? Take responsibility for your actions and own your results. So what's not working? And so these are like skills maybe that you don't have that would be really helpful, or areas of improvement that would help you meet challenges. All right. Done. So I'd love to hear from everyone actually, your one accomplishment and one of what was the biggest learning over the last 11 weeks. Who wants to go first? Ben.
I could go.
Okay, go ahead, Lisa.
So I my biggest accomplishment, or sorry, ask the question again.
Yeah, so biggest accomplishment and then the biggest lesson learned.
Okay. So my biggest accomplishment is that I wake up looking forward to my morning.
Nice.
And that's exactly what I wanted. So I'm
Awesome.
super excited about that. Yeah. And lessons learned would be that I learn to prioritize so that I do the most important thing first, so it's not lost.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So good. Yay.
Yeah.
Great. Who else? Who's next? Jen.
I can go. Mine is also related to the morning. So waking up early and having like a solid morning routine. I've done it 44 days in a row.
Yoo-hoo.
And also as important as closing the kitchen at 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both
because it's related too.
Yeah.
It's
And then for lessons learned, I learned that I can wake up early.
Yeah.
I had this like badge of honor that everyone in my house sleeps in. And so like recognizing that you can like put that down and not have to like cling to this accomplishment that I had in the past. And then also that I can do hard things. Like I've had some like little like yoga breakthroughs recently. There were things I couldn't do and now I can do.
That's
sometimes
yeah.
that are hard to me.
That's awesome.
So it's like I can do, so I feel like I can do hard things that are hard.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. So good. Jean.
I don't know. I can't really think of the biggest accomplishment, but
it doesn't have to be just.
Yeah, one thing that I thought would be hard is I'm down to maximum 1 cup of coffee a day, which is huge for me because I more than that, and I think that impacts my whole day. And so,
was that hard for you to do?
No, but I think part of mine was being sick. So I think if I hadn't been sick, it would have been a lot harder.
Yeah.
because I couldn't drink coffee, and then I didn't have it for a while, and I was like, oh, but then I do still like it, so I let myself reintroduce it. But reintroducing it, I've been able to just stick to one. So,
awesome. Great.
Which feels great.
Nice.
And then learned a lot. But one thing that surprised me is how much I enjoy the self-massage, because it just feels like self-love. And
totally.
I just had never anticipated doing anything like that before. So that's been huge for me. I look forward to it.
Nice. Yeah. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. And Jessie?
I think when I think about my biggest accomplishment, I think I wrote down quite a few things in just 1 minute, but
yeah, good.
I think looking forward to waking up early.
Nice.
That's something that I sort of thought, yeah, I could do it. Like I could push through, but I didn't buy in. I wasn't really sure. Like I'm just going to feel tired, and it's going to be a slog to have to wake up early. Yeah. And so really looking forward to waking up early. It's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of what I've learned, is that I have control over how I feel and how I start the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to wake up feeling like it was all just coming at me. And now I feel like I can wake up and I can decide how I spend the first part of my morning. And that's, it gives me a nice sense of sort of control and perspective over my day, and just looks really nice too.
Nice. That's awesome. Great. Yeah, Twyla. So Marty, you joined a little bit late, but we did a little exercise, and we're sharing the one biggest accomplishment, or it doesn't have to be the biggest one accomplishment and one lesson learned from so Twyla, go ahead.
I'm with Jean. The decreased coffee.
Nice.
It's been huge, and it's like I actually look at the clock more often for that 2:00. That okay, this is going to be my big meal, and I do feel so much better with the sleep, with not eating late. I'm, before Christmas and stuff, it's like a big struggle. So that's one of the things I'm just still working on. Like I'm like I don't want to meet these people. I'm so tired of Christmas parties already, and so but the coffee is like huge. I just I'm almost like going right to tea and hardly having any coffee.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, that has been big. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And Marnie, what about you?
Well, so for me, I would say the early mornings are perfect. They've really become a big deal for me. So I'm enjoying the getting up early and doing the exercise and then the meditation and the yoga. It's been good. It's been great. So, and I don't. I'm also on the coffee thing. I'm 1 cup a day is great for me. So that's been a big deal.
Awesome. Any lessons learned? Anything? What works? What doesn't work? Or something that you didn't kind of a aha or anything like that?
Well, so I going to bed early, that's been a big deal for me too. I love that. I love to have an excuse to do that, actually, because I'm a early to bed person. So that's been a big deal for me, probably.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we started out talking about how our identity shapes our behaviors, but it very much works the other way around as well. Because when we do new behaviors, we see ourselves differently. Like all of a sudden we could become from, like Jen was saying, from a not morning person to a morning person simply by just waking up early and having this specific morning routine and realizing like, I can do this. Like this is, I am a morning person. So that is another way to approach. If we want something that we don't currently have, we have to be someone that we're not. And the way we become that person is by doing different things and putting ourselves in different environments. And different environment meaning like something like this, like a community where you're putting yourself in an environment of like, this is what we're doing around here. And this is what's done. And so that you start to just do that thing. And then it becomes very much like a normal thing. And that completely changes who you are and how you see yourself. And a lot of those old identity patterns and those limiting beliefs just get shattered. And so you are a different person now than you were 12 weeks ago. Like you are, and that's the thing, we have to see ourselves in that way, that we're not my teacher says, we're not a noun, we're a verb. Like we can change. And this is been shown, and if anyone's read like Carol Dweck's work on mindset, the growth versus fixed mindset. And so there's kind of two camps of people that believe that this is who I am, or this is how I've always been, this is how I'm always going to be, I can't change. Change is impossible. And people don't change. And if you see yourself as that, like life is very limited. But if you see that I can change, I can actually do those hard things, I can do the things I've never done before, I have the capability, and to know that, first of all, you have to believe you can, and believe that certain behaviors will get you to what you want. Like that belief, that trust, that hope, that there's lots of words that we can use for that, expectancy, that faith, whatever, however you see it. You believe that, then there is nothing that you can't do. That you have to believe that you can. It's all in your head. And when we realize that, like anything is possible. And what these habits open up is that confidence, because we once we actually do the behaviors, we build trust in ourselves. We build that deep sense of confidence that like I can make these changes. And some of these things are really hard to do, although they seem like it's not that big of a deal. It's waking up early or exercising in the morning or going to bed. But it actually is. Many people struggle their whole lives without being able to change any of these things. And so I want you to recognize that simply by being here, you're one of like a minority of people that actually are proactive in their life and have actually taken a step forward to what you want and invested in yourself. And the moment we actually invest, especially when it's a significant amount of money, that's like the point of no return. Like in that moment of investment, like we become someone different because we've actually proven to ourselves, like I'm worthy. Because I've just spent money on myself, that on my well-being, on my goals, on my desires, that I deserve this. And so we completely start to see, and that sets off this whole momentum of being able to make changes, and then you commit. And so the commitment is huge. So if there's an area, if you look at your weaknesses that you put down, those are things that you have not committed to yet. And that's really like, once we invest, that's one thing, but then we have to commit. We have to completely commit. And if we haven't committed, it's because our why isn't strong enough. So we haven't really tapped into like, why do I want that thing? And we have to somehow connect that thing to that bigger desire, whatever that big desire is, because honestly, I do believe strongly that our morning routine and our evening routine enables anything we want in our lives. I really, really believe that, because again, it's stepping into the driver's seat. It's being proactive with what we want. It's starting to just change behaviors that we know will allow us to be more productive, to be more mindful, to be more on purpose in our lives. And then when we do that, then really there's nothing that we can't accomplish that we set our mind to. So I want you to also just get that it's so much bigger than this. It's so much bigger than creating morning and evening routines. This is just baseline. It's just starting. It's just beginning. And so the more, but it's like absolutely non-negotiable. Like anything you want, I also believe that it starts with having a really solid morning and evening routine. It's having these things dialed in, automated, so that you do wake up and you can put yourself in a peak state, so that you can get done what needs to be done and move towards whatever dreams and desires and goals that you have. So I want you to like also, when this is all often unconscious, like the whole identity shifting, we're not even aware that it's happening. But the more consciousness we can bring to it and more awareness, the more we can actually do it more mindfully and recognize, okay, I'm someone different now. And to actually see how am I different, so that we can let that penetrate and let it really soak in, and let our personalities kind of recalibrate at this higher level, because we've really up leveled our life through these processes. We are now one or two rungs higher than we were when we started. And so to really let that soak in, because I mentioned before when we were talking a few calls ago about the upper limit, like if we don't actually savor and let it land and take the time to the reflection process of recognizing the wins and recognizing where we are now as opposed to where we were before, we might go back. Like that's very possible. Like we might default to the old ways because we haven't actually realized that we're somewhere different. And then the pull of some of those old behaviors might be stronger than the desire. So it's so important that the strong desire is what moves you forward. It has to be so compelling and so like, you have to be so emotionally connected to it that it's like the point of no return, that is what I'm getting. That is what I want. And I am committed to getting what I want. And when we make that commitment, we draw that line in the sand, we will do the behaviors and the willpower will be there. Like we will make the choices that will take us in that direction. And it's sometimes as simple as like making that firm commitment, that resolve. It's like resolution is that kind of resolve to do something. So as we move forward, and now is like prime time for setting those resolutions and setting those goals, is get really clear of what's next. What's the next? Because the up leveling never ends. Because our potential doesn't have an end point. We just continuously can, like none of us knows our limits. There's a really great story. It's in the book, The One Thing, and it's about a statistics student. And actually, he's the movie, The Good Will Hunting. It was based off of this character. He was late for class one day in a statistics class, and the teacher had put 2 problems on the board. And he like copied them down. He went home and he kind of figured them out and he brought them back. And he's like, okay, here's my assignment, handed it in. And the teacher was like, oh, you actually did this. These were 2 unsolved problems, like in history. And the statistics student said, oh, I didn't know that they were, if I had known that these were unsolved, I probably wouldn't have gone home and tried to figure them out, because I would have been like, oh, they're unsolvable. Like I can't do it. If nobody can, why can I? Why should I be able to? So him not knowing that they were unsolvable, he actually didn't know that he didn't recognize his own limit. So what would we picture for ourselves if we didn't know our own limits? Like what would we go after if we didn't think anything was out of our reach? And we have to start thinking bigger, because those bigger things will call our actions forward. They will motivate us to take bigger actions and take those bigger leaps and to take those steps that are scary, but that are absolutely essential for us getting what we really, really want. But most of us play so small, and we set like the little goals that we feel like, oh, I'm safe here. I'm safe if I just set a little goal and then I don't have to change too much. I don't have to go too far out of my comfort zone, and I don't have to rock the boat. But I think we're all here because we feel like there's more. And I think that that's just an impulse, like an evolutionary impulse. We all have it. We feel like there's something inside of me, and it's actually related to pitta. It's like, it's considered the refined essence of pitta. It's called tejas, and tejas is this and again, these Sanskrit words don't have a direct, there's no word in English that can be used to, there's no word in English for it. And it's this, what it means is this discernment, this like, I want this, not that. It's being able to, I remember, but before I was doing these habits, I was really indecisive and I didn't ever know what I wanted. And I didn't realize that was actually because of ama. Like, it was just like stuff in the way. And as you strengthen your agni, your digestive fire, you burn away the ama, you actually get more clear and you actually can see what you want. You have that vision, and pitta is fire, and fire brings light, and the light is our vision. And we start to really have that clarity of what is, what's the next step? What do I really want? And then we can discern the right from the wrong, or the thing that is in alignment with what we want and what isn't. And so we know where to kind of set those boundaries, or and then the path to what we want gets very streamlined. It's like, I know what I want, so I'm not going to get distracted because like this doesn't fit. So that starts to happen. And if it hasn't happened already, or maybe even like that, you just start to get lit up by life. And life is very exciting because it's like it's like those of you that said you're excited to wake up in the morning. That's a sign of health. Like in Ayurveda, it's like, if that's not happening, there's imbalance and there's disease. Like that's normal. That should be how we all feel. And then it starts to, because then you get excited in that morning time. We're so productive in that morning time, and we can get a lot done in that morning time, and we have the most clarity, and we have the most ability for neuroplasticity, where we can change. We have that ability to change who we are. And we can, the mind is most clear, and we want to harness that as much as possible. And my sense, is that also we start to realize that we just need like a few hours of potent hours of productive work, and then that frees up a lot of time in our life. I was listening to something today that was talking about, the average person at work at like an 8-hour job. This probably doesn't apply for everyone, but has 3 hours of productive work and then spends the rest of the time pretty much frittering away time. So you wish, yeah, I know. I thought about you when I was like, that probably doesn't apply to, everyone like you, Twilight. Emergency room. Yeah. But I think for a lot of us, but we start to actually see, and that's something that for me, I noticed, is that I stopped wasting time. I stopped, because I had that, that clearly defined path that I was wanting, that I was moving in. And we don't have to know every step of the path. We just have to know the destination and then the next step. That's all. We have to have that vision that's so clear. That's like, maybe it's having a house on an island somewhere. I don't know, whatever it is for you. Being able to take your family on amazing vacations, or seeing yourself doing something. Like, we have to see that future, picture it, see ourselves there, feel those emotions, know that it's possible. Like, know that and that's where the trust comes in. The trust that what I desire is available to me. And all I need to do is take this next step that I know. And then the next step will be revealed after that. So I'd love to, if anyone has any thoughts. I just went on a big old rant there for a while. Anyone else have any? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one thing that it tweaks for me is just, I remember, like, I haven't followed much of what Oprah's up to, but I just remember this one thing that she said about the meditation stuff that she does with Deepak Chopra, or I'm not.
Yep.
Okay. It was just that when she did morning meditation, she just asked, what's my next right move? And I feel like that really resonates with this. Like what you just said was, you don't have to know the whole thing. You don't have to plan it all out.
You don't know.
But if you know you have some sense of where you want to be.
Yeah.
And feel that. And then you just focus each day on what's my next right move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like the idea of meditating on that, or asking
totally.
myself.
That's actually a practice called bhavana, where it's a practice of not looking for the answer, but having a question, and just like you drop in the question and you see what arises naturally. So it's not from like a logical mind of like figuring it out, but it's more of letting the answers bubble to the surface.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Totally. And if we knew every step, we would be there, right? Like, if we knew how.
Yeah.
I mean, well, maybe not necessarily, because a lot of people don't take action on their desires, but all we need to know is trust that, okay, if we just take action in the way that we know how, then the universe will support us in presenting us with the next step, or the right person will show up that will, and we also have to be open to the path to get there is maybe not what we thought it was, but the end destination could still be the same. But in our mind, we might picture, okay, I have to do this, this, and this to get there. But then we have to be open to maybe something random happens and then you go a totally different route to get there, but to be open. So Easeful Living, I think, is so much of this. For me, it's a lot about faith and trust, because it makes it, although we take action and we take responsibility, we also feel like we don't have to do it all alone. That there is, like, the universe is there to support us, but we have to do our part. Like, we do have to show the universe, that I'm actually making some effort, and I am going for what I want. And then it's like the universe is like, okay, I see that. I'm going to reward you and help you out a little bit. And I think a lot of it is also gratitude. It's I heard something that resonated. It's like you've got some kids over and you give them a treat, and some of them just take the treat and eat it. And that's like the one kid that's really grateful. You're like, I want to give that one more treats. And the thing I was listening to, she was like, that's like the universe. When you're grateful, it's like, okay, yeah, I'll give you more. So having that gratitude practice and because if we take even the Ayurvedic philosophy of, in order to create balance, you have to bring in the opposite. So if we ever are stuck in lack, if we feel like, oh, there's not enough, or we feel like we're lacking something, we're missing something, then we just cultivate the opposite. The opposite would be abundance. Like, look at all that I have. Like, be grateful and appreciate what you have. So we can cultivate those opposite feelings and thoughts and emotions. And that's another way that we really step into the driver's seat, is realizing that we can choose what to focus on. We don't choose the thoughts that pop into our head, but we can say, I'm going to pay attention to this one, and I'm not going to pay attention to that one, because that one doesn't serve me. That's not how I want to feel. The negativity, the lack, the stress, the anxiety, the fear. We know that what kind of emotions that brings upon. If we focus on those feelings, then we can actually we can choose to cultivate the opposite. And then whatever we focus on expands. And we see that more, and we become steeped in that more, in that feeling that, like, yeah, I am supported. And yeah, I do have so much abundance. And yeah, I can do what I can reach my goals, or I can achieve my desires. And that's by actually seeing, because look at what I did already, like recognizing the accomplishments. So that's why that's such an important practice of recognizing the wins. Because if we're always kind of down on ourselves or hard on ourselves or feeling bad, then that's just what we'll focus on, and that's just what we'll notice, and that's what we'll see. So there's a worksheet that is the Who Am I Becoming worksheet. And it's a good one to do. And you fill in the sentence stems that I'm becoming the kind of person who. And so just take a moment and write that. I'm becoming the kind of person who, or I'm becoming the kind of person that appreciates or cherishes or wants, and don't censor yourself. Let yourself be inspired by what emerges. Just see what comes up. I'm becoming the kind of person who. And this is becoming, so it's happening right now. And if anyone wants to share, you can. Or if anyone wants to comment on anything I've said.
I'll share.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I wrote that I'm becoming the kind of person who starts each day with a gratitude practice, who follows a regular morning routine of lemon water, tongue scraping, and meditation, and body breath practice.
Nice. Yeah.
And even oil pulling.
Yeah, nice.
Last few days.
Awesome. Great. And how's that feel?
It's getting better. The first time I did it, I put way too much coconut oil on the spoon, and I thought I was gonna gag.
Yeah.
I had to keep spitting it out.
Yeah.
I realized I don't need much, and I'm getting better at it. And I'm not sure. I think it feels weird still, but I'm going to the dentist this week, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna do it and see what the dentist, he says, wow, what have you been doing?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, let us know. Cool.
But yeah, it still feels strange to me.
Yeah. That's okay. Everything does in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Just keep doing it. Yeah. Anyone else wanna say or comment on what I was saying before? And also, yeah, I mean, if there's we didn't really talk about what we were working on last week. So if anyone has questions or comments on sense organ care of the things that we talked about last week, we can make some time for that. Or any questions?
I can go.
Okay.
I'm becoming the kind of person who understands the commitment of practice. And I think I never really got that before. You either are the kind of person who does it, or you're the kind of person who doesn't. And at some point there's a switch that flips, and you get it and you do it, and that's it. But I think I am really beginning to, and through this course, really understand it is practice, and not just like practice to get better, but practice doing it every day. And that really is a commitment that you make.
It is.
For me, that's been a fundamental shift between sort of you either do it or you don't, versus practicing. You're not always going to get it perfect. You're going to miss some days. You're going to do better some days than others. But yeah, I think that's
gosh, yes, practice is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And that is never ending too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a commitment. It is a commitment that you commit to the practice of, and the practice, I think also, and I like that you said that, it's not always perfect, but it's the commitment to the practice and not to the perfection.
Yeah.
A really good distinction.
I think that's been a fundamental shift for me that's made this process so much more enjoyable versus overwhelming.
Yeah.
I think I've been able to remove a lot of the procrastination that I felt around some of the habits or around just life in general.
Yeah.
And so, that's been really,
good. That's great. Yeah. If we can, and again, it's such a good practice to take action in small steps, because often it is the procrastination of it feels so big or daunting or hard or uncomfortable or annoying or whatever, but to say, okay, I can do something small, and I'm going to do something small.
Yeah. And just to know that is part of the practice. It's not that I didn't do enough of it, or I didn't do it right today and I'll get it right tomorrow, or
right. Yeah. It's showing up.
This is what the practice looks like today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's very, very freeing.
Great. That's awesome. Yeah. It's showing up consistently. All day in, day out. And that's, who said that quote, like 99% of success is showing up. I feel like Andy Warhol, maybe. Can't remember. Yeah.
I have an oil pulling question.
Yeah.
Okay, I sent Steve to go buy me coconut oil at the store.
Yeah.
And he bought this. It's like liquid.
Oh, is it what's it called? Is it fractionated or something?
It says the ingredients is just coconut oil.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I usually just, I usually in general try to get just a good quality one. So I don't know if it's a good quality, or is it?
It seems good, but I'm just like, what he brought home wasn't what I was expecting to bring home. I'm like, well, you did bring me coconut oil. In my mind, it was like,
solid.
Like two different kinds of honey, right? Like
right.
He brought me like liquid honey instead of like hard honey. But I've been using it, and it's like,
it should work. Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah.
It has been good, but I was just like, oh, maybe I should just double check.
No, it's fine. It's
my homework.
Yeah. And how does it feel?
Yes, you don't need very much.
Yeah.
Gee. But yeah, the first time I did it too vigorously, and my cheeks were sore, my jaw was sore. Like I was like full face workout.
Yeah.
That's too much. And then I was just like a little easier going and not like super crazy pulling, and it was much more enjoyable. I'm like, chill out on your oil pulling. Like, it's in the morning. Jeez.
That's good. Yeah. And how did your mouth feel?
Feels good. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I even put some of that up my nose.
Good. Awesome.
Just on my finger. I did the shortcut. I didn't want to do
it. Yeah. That's all good. Yeah. Did anyone else do the nose and the ears?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I see the benefits of it for sure. It's a great idea. Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Awesome. So we're becoming someone, and we also want to know, and like I mentioned before, a really important part of making changes is the right environment, meaning the people that we surround ourselves with. So we want to get really clear, and there's also a worksheet on this, the people who support who I'm becoming are. So we want to know, who are the people that support who I'm becoming? Who are the people that are going to actually hold me to a higher standard and like be there for me and cheer me on? And then who's not? Who's actually more in support of who I used to be? And those people often tend to get threatened by our success because they feel left behind. And so we want to get really clear, because we want to know who to go to. Because if we understand And this is really a truth, that we are very influenced by the people that we hang out with. And if we want certain habits and certain behaviors, and we want certain things in our lives, and we want to reach certain goals, we've got to surround ourselves with people that are going to help us, because there is no such thing as a self-made man, woman. Like, nobody gets anywhere on their own.
I think it's interesting too, because I didn't tell anyone I was doing this course. The only ones that knew were my husband and Karen, my mentor.
Yeah.
I didn't share with any of my friends.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that you can tell the shift into friends, where it's just like, are you coming out? No, I'm, they think there's something wrong with me, of that, no, I just want to stay home. Or if you want to get together, I want to get together at 5:30. I don't want to get together at 8:30. I don't want to be home at 10 o'clock at night. I want to be in bed by 9, but I'm not telling them anything. But they're seeing, like, they're like, what's going on? You just seem more mellow. You just seem more, but you learn, like, I feel like the energy, like, you can sense, like, I stay away from negative people, and in my work and daily, I just go, okay, I run the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning not to kind of just more deal with them and just go, like, I don't know. I just, in my head, when they're like that, I just kind of think, namaste, whatever, I don't know, like, whatever. And I just kind of go in the world. But it's interesting with the support. I didn't say to my friends at all that I was doing this course, that they've noticed a change where, oh, you got more energy, you're doing this and you're happier, whatever it is. And then you have the ones that are like, well, what's going on? You don't want to come out anymore for a glass of wine. And no, I don't.
Yeah.
You want to go for a walk or a hike at 2 o'clock? I'd be happy to join you. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And it changes the dynamics and relationships, and we start to, it totally changes. Like, I think for me, I've wanted relationships with more depth, and that were more, not superficial, and not about just
same old thing.
Yeah, exactly. It gets boring.
Yeah.
Especially when you start to really want bigger things, it's like you're just not interested in that stuff anymore. It's like way too boring. Like, there's so many better. You'd rather be reading like a really inspiring book or something.
Yeah. I'm happy being by myself.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people aren't. They don't know how to do that.
Right. So true. Yeah, I know. And like the time alone is like, you really cherish that time for yourself, and that time for you. And yeah,
so that's something that's been interesting with the courses. I don't know if other people have told their people that they were friends that they were doing it, but I just thought, I'm going to keep this a little secret for myself. And just,
did you feel like people would judge you? Is that why? Or no, you just didn't?
No, I just wanted to see, because I didn't want to be, I don't know, I think it was just my own little private,
like, draw attention to it, or
I think it was just my own little journey on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why, eventually I'll tell them that, ones that want to go for a hike at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But, it was just really, it's been wonderful, like absolutely wonderful. But I didn't say, like, I can't go out because I have to be in bed by 9 or something like that. It's like, no, I don't want to go. I'm good. But So.
But I think we do start to get much more intentional about who we hang out with, and we start to actually seek out. In my experience, I'm like seeking out, okay, who do I want to rub off on me? I'm going to hang out with them.
Yeah.
And who's actually pulling me down and like, actually it's just the negative energy, or pulling me back, or it's
I think over 40, you should, like, that should be like, you start, I think at 40, I'm way over 40, but it's like, you just kind of know the friends in your life that give you that positive energy, and the ones that give you the negative one. Negative. And it's not like they're giving it, but they're just always in a rut or something, and you can't help them because they don't want to help themselves. So you just tend to fade away. Because it's such a short journey. You just
right. Totally. Exactly. Yeah. So take some time with that one, with that worksheet of who supports the people or the person I'm becoming, and who does not, like who's, and also looking ahead, I want you to also reflect on, if I continue to make these small improvements, if I continue to practice and show up and stay committed to this path, and it has to be a conscious commitment, and we have to actively work on it, because again, if we don't, it just falls by the wayside. I've seen it happen, which is why, I encourage like continuing, because it's just going to get better. And there's just going to be more. And the more that I learn, the more that I share, and the more, and I've invested for myself in the next year in like a year-long mentorship, like high success training, so that I can bring all that stuff, like pass it down. And it's a lot of it it's gonna be around psychology of because it's all up here. Like we really have to be able to master our own psychology, and we can, which is the great thing. Like we can change our, like how we think and how we see things, and we can change our behaviors. And so we change as a result, the outcome, what we actually end up achieving. So we have an opportunity to create these masterpiece days. And like Twyla, you said, our journey is short, and we want to make every day count, and we want to be doing things that we love, and we want to be excited for our day and moving forward in the direction that we have chosen, instead of being reactive to circumstances and to other people's needs and to other people's agendas. Because that's the thing. If we don't have our own agenda, there are plenty of other people who will have an agenda for us. Our inboxes, that's like a whole agenda. Marketing people, businesses, friends, family members, coworkers. Like, so that's why it's so important that we know, like, I know where I'm going. I know what I want. I have an agenda, and we'll see if you fit in with my agenda or not. No, that sounds weird, but you know what I mean.
Donna, I'm gonna I always walk my dog at 7:30 at night.
Okay.
I'm gonna go.
Okay.
You all, and it's my agenda.
All right, go for it.
Walk down the whole hill and all the way back up, and it's good. But I just want to say.
Okay. All right, Twyla. Take care. See you soon.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
So let's go into this last habit. What does easeful living mean to you? So what does that look like for you? If you could actually visualize easeful living. I even the word, for me, I just say the word and I relax. And we talk a lot. I've been talking a lot about moving forward and goals and commitment, and that's the effort part of it. But then there's also the ease, which is what I was saying about the trust and the surrender and the faith. And that's, for me, that's the ease part of it. It's like, yeah, I'm going to move forward, but then I'm also going to not stress so much about what happens, because I know it'll all work out. Like, I know that I'll get there. And it might not be the way I think. It might not be on the timeline that I want. But to just trust. But also, again, when we see the progress, when we recognize the forward movement that is happening, we see that, yeah, I am getting there and I am moving forward. So I'd love to hear, like, what is easeful living to you? Like, what does that look like? And easeful living is both a result of the habits. Like, when you're doing the habits, there's this baseline of ease in your life. But you can also, it can be its own habit, easeful living. So, and that can look like so many different things. But I'd love to hear, like, what do you guys, what does easeful living mean to you?
I'll go.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm very motivated to embrace most of these habits. And so I'm I'm excited. I feel like it's going really well.
Nice.
But on the flip side, I slip up on the weekends a bit. But as you were saying, before I would have beat myself up for that. And now I'm just like, no, I'm just going to be fine with that because I know that I'm motivated and I know that I will get back on track. And actually, I'm okay with that because there's no point in beating myself up.
Right.
And I want to be still able to kick back and have fun as well. So that feels easeful to me, that I'm really getting better at the habits, but yet not being super rigid.
Yeah. That's huge. And that's self-care is so much more than doing the habit. Self-care is the relationship that we have with ourselves.
Yeah.
Not one of being like harsh and judgmental and hard on ourselves and just being more compassionate, being more soft and being more gentle and being more accepting. And
yeah, I feel like that is happening, that I'm like, if something goes a little bit sideways, I'm like, well, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll try it again tomorrow, and that feels easeful rather than
totally
stressful, beating myself up and then throwing it all out the window, which I may have done, or I probably have done many times in past adventures and health.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Anyone else? What does easeful living mean to you?
It means less resistance.
Less resistance?
Yeah. I don't know how, but it to me, it's a feeling. Then instead of sort of swimming upstream and everything feeling really, really hard, you float for a little bit, and you I don't know what it looks like, but I know what it feels like.
Yeah, it is more of a feeling, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think I'd have to really think about what that would look like.
Yeah,
for me, but it just feels like everything isn't so hard. That's resistance that I, not even necessarily in my surroundings, but that I personally feel towards various situations or tasks or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
Even things like just day-to-day going grocery shopping, feeling less resistance to that. Oh, now I have to go grocery shopping and it means I don't have enough time for this and this, versus thinking I get to go and I'm going to go somewhere that has fresh local produce and that's enjoyable, and like the smells and the just finding to enjoy too.
Yeah. So I think like what Jean was saying is relationship to yourself, and I think what you're saying is relationship to life. It's like our relationship to life is more just easeful and positive and
I think knowing you have a choice in that.
Yeah. Right. Like, totally. We can we can begrudge what we have to do, or we can be like, I get to do this. I get to actually go grocery shopping. That's pretty awesome.
And it is pretty awesome that we get to go grocery shopping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, but
that's okay. Lisa, what about you?
Okay.
I've been thinking about just how there was a time when it was a goal, or when it felt like it was something I was striving towards, was easeful living.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be in a place where I realize that maybe it's just something that grows, or that it's there. And if you, like you said, if you can choose what to focus on. And if you focus, I feel like it's grown a lot in these last 3 months, and that it's not a goal, but it's just something that is becoming more the state of things instead of a stressful environment.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It does. Go ahead.
Well, I just was thinking, I'm kind of realizing that with everything is that it's not out there. Like, you're not going, there is no out there. You're not really going anywhere, right? Yeah. It's the whole talk of this is all we have.
Yeah.
And that's so much associated with easeful living too, I think, is just realizing that we have so much power right now to really enjoy right now. So, and the more you do that, the more enjoyable life.
Totally. Just being present. Yeah. Exactly. Like just being present.
And appreciating, like you said, like last week, I was kind of kicking myself because I had offered to volunteer in my son's grade 1 classroom. And I had work to do and I had all these other things. And like, it just felt like, oh, why did I sign up for this? I have to bring all the materials for all the kids in the classroom. But I knew in the back of my mind, there was another voice that was saying like, but he's only in grade 1 once, you know, and like, and just like knowing that it's really valuable time.
Yeah.
And it's important. And, you know, I just took some deep breaths and went, no, I can do this. And made the time, and then I could move on to the next stuff. But but it's easy to let those things become a problem, right? And it's nice to just come back like, but why am I doing this? And
yeah, exactly. And what you said, like what you choose to, if you focus on like this is annoying, then it's going to be annoying.
Yeah.
But if you focus on, no, this is an opportunity to relish this time, completely changes it. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
I was going to say that it's something like, it's almost like easeful is like a lightness where you don't have this like harshness, kind of like just softens all the edges.
Totally. Yeah.
And my youngest is in preschool, and they're going through self-regulation, and they have all these zones. So like being in the green zone, it's like you're happy, you're calm, you're focused and ready to learn. I'm like, yes.
That's easeful living. Yeah. I'm in the green zone.
The green zone. And then the yellow zone could be like good or bad, but you're just a little bit excited, a little bit wiggly, or you're a little bit like agitated and like maybe annoyed. And then it's like teaching them to get like from that to get back to the yellow zone instead of going to the red zone, which is too much of anything, like too much good or bad. It's just, you know,
manic.
So, but I'm just like, so I'm just like, oh, the green zone. Cool. Everybody get the green zone.
Yeah.
Because it's also not just like being happy, but it's being able to be like focused and ready to learn. Like it's more intentional than just be like in a coma somewhere or something. So I'm like, yes, you know, this preschool's got it figured out.
Totally. I like that, ready to learn. Because I think that also is that relationship to life, that whatever comes, whether it's good or bad, it's always, okay, I'm ready to learn from this.
Yeah.
Whatever life is handed to you, I'm ready to learn, whether it's difficult or not. It's what do I need to learn here? What did the universe present to me that I need to learn? That is ultimately what I need to know for the next step of my life. Mm-hmm. What's the lesson that's being offered? Yeah, I like that. That's awesome. So we want to know, so we talked about in the beginning, the strengths, the weaknesses, and we want to know what the growing edge is, like what's the edge, what needs my attention and my effort and my commitment, like what do I need to commit to? And you know, again, and I'm so glad that I've dialed that in for you guys as far as letting go of that perfection, because it's not about getting the habits perfectly. It's about what the habits enable for us and how they make us feel and how they optimize and improve our lives and how they even enable deeper connections with each other. This ability even to be present and to choose what we focus on. Like that takes a certain baseline of like just being grounded to choose that. So there's Jonathan Fields. I don't know if you ever heard of the Good Life Project. It's a podcast, and then he also wrote a book. And he talks about how we need these certainty anchors in our life, which is basically habits that we can count on, that are a grounding force in our lives. And that's really what the habits are. It's these anchors. And the thing is, life is very unpredictable. And if we don't have a grounding force, that regularity, that certainty, then we can get thrown off really easily. But it's really so important that we have these bookends to our days of like our morning routine and our evening routine, where we can just drop in and move through these rituals and these practices and these routines that really set us up for being able to deal with whatever life hands us and all the uncertainty in the rest of our lives. So we have a choice in our lives, and that's also an important thing and I think, a lot of you have mentioned something along those lines, that I can choose my life. I can choose my behaviors. I can choose my experience. I can choose the way I feel. And that's huge. That's freedom. That's the goal. Svatantriya, we talked about this quite a bit. That's the ultimate goal is recognizing that we are free. We are totally free. We're not bound by old habits and old patterns and old identities. Like that, they're not like handcuffs anymore. That we have tools that we can change. And then also with stress, it's the opposite of ease is stress. And so we can even look at stress differently. And there's a really great TED Talk called, what's her name? Kelly McGonigal. And it's about how stress is, I think it's like how to befriend stress, or how stress is your friend or something like that. And basically how stress actually gives us a whole lot of energy. So instead of thinking, if we see stress as a bad thing and having a negative impact on us, it will. But if we actually see stress as giving us energy, then we can harness that energy and direct that energy in a very specific way, then we actually don't have any bad effects from stress. So just to finish up, also Easeful Living habits, how it can actually be a habit. We talked about it being a result, but also certain things we can practice in little micro habits, like exhaling, just a breath, and dropping in and releasing the energy down, and like feeling our feet, feeling our bodies, like getting into our bodies, feeling the back of our bodies. Who we spend time with, like spending less time with people that are negative or pull us down, or that stress us out, or that are not in alignment with who we're becoming, and more time with people that are happy and relaxed and who are authentic and open and see eye to eye, and that we can resonate at that level that we want to resonate with at. Even things like decluttering our house. And I think I put that in the webinar. It's like that for me, like Pitta people are very, like, the eyes are connected to Pitta. So if what you see is in disarray, like in your house, if there's mess and there's clutter and there's stuff, then that creates internal stress. So taking the time to clear, and that's what we do, if you're in for the 9 months, we do that in the summer. Like we really become really intentional with our space, and we declutter and we get rid of the stuff that doesn't spark joy in our lives. And even finances, like, finances can be huge stress. Like, what do you need to do? Figure out your finances. Like, is that something? We want to know what's causing stress in our lives. We want to know what's triggering that. And then being proactive as far as also having a habit of unplugging from our devices, I think is huge. Huge. Oh my gosh. There's more and more stuff every day of like the negative impact of being so sucked in. And most people, it's like the first thing they do before they even look at their partner or say anything to anyone is like they go into their email or go into Facebook or go into social media. And that is, that's not being proactive. So it's having that habit of an hour before bed and an hour in the morning, like that is time for you to connect to your intentions, to yourself, to your, having the gratitude practice, to meditation, to getting just in your body, creating that peak state. yeah, and so you can just think of, for you, like what are like just micro habits, or what is creating stress in your life that you need to, because sometimes it's like identifying the kryptonite too. It's knowing what are the levers, what actually creates ease, and then what actually gets in the way of ease, so that we can uproot some of that stuff. We can take care of some of that stuff. I want to finish with a poem by Mary Oliver that I love. It's called The Journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice through the whole house, though the whole house began to tremble, and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible, it was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. And little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save.
Beautiful.
So that's a wrap. And I hope that you continue. You are part of the community, and the Facebook page is there for you to stay connected. And if you're not already coming along for the next 9 months, that invitation is open, and that closes on Friday. That option ends on Friday, because starting on January 1st, we are doing like a deep dive annual planning workshop where we are going to really like set those goals and make a plan for, okay, what am I going to create? Like, who do I want to become? What do I want to make happen in 2018? And everything that we need to do and put in place, and the structures to actually make that a reality. So, all right. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.